My brother goes through women like I go through socks. I gave him a +1 for my wedding 2 years ago. He brought his girlfriend of that time. When we were doing the family pictures, he wanted his girlfriend in the pictures. I said we could do some with her and some without. He got mad that I allowed my sister to have her fiancé in all the pictures, and my other brother was allowed to have his boyfriend of 5 years, but that I had the audacity to exclude his girlfriend of the week. My parents said that they didn't want any fighting and to just include her. They were paying for everything wedding related, so I said fine. She isn't in all our pictures, just the ones with our family and both families. Now my brother is engaged and we had the family over last weekend. His fiancée saw our wedding picture on the wall and got into a fight with my brother. He never told her that he'd been in a serious relationship with her nemesis. He tried explaining that they only dated a very short while. She called nonsense because she was included in the family picture. She asked to see our wedding album. Sure enough, the girl was in multiple pictures with the family and the in-laws. My brother finally calmed her down but has asked me to take down the picture or have his ex removed. I said that it was expensive, so he'd have to pay for it. He tried complaining to our parents. They said that I was being childish. I reminded them that they were the ones who insisted I give in to him. I said that they were welcome to pay for the editing. They said I was a jerk and that they already paid for my wedding pictures once. I said my brother could pay for that if he wanted his girlfriend's mortal enemy removed from my wedding pictures. Am I the idiot? Edit, the ex was a bully to the fiancé in middle school and high school. The issue isn't that my brother dated other women, it's that he had a serious enough relationship with her that she was included in a family wedding picture. My brother is between a rock and a hard place. He either has to admit to me that he was an idiot for insisting she be in the pictures, even though she was in his life for a few minutes, or lie to his fiancée about how important to him she was. Honestly, I don't think my brother remembers dating the girl in the picture. LMAO, your brother sounds like a catch. Not the idiot. You're right, this is their doing, and they can pay for it if they want. Had they not pressured you in the first place, he wouldn't be in this situation. Notice, not your situation. This is his issue to deal with. Too bad for him. If I were being petty, I'd pay someone to replace his picture with John Oliver and keep it up until he stopped being an entitled tool. The new chick has already seen the photos anyway, so the damage is done. Removing the ex won't alter history. They'll probably be broken up by the time you get the new photos printed anyway. I feel your pain, OP. My brother's girlfriend of 3 years was included in all of our family photos. Little did I know that they'd broken up 2 weeks prior, but he still took her because she already had the dress. 18 years and I still want to strangle my brother. Oh wow. Besides, when this chick leaves him, it will just be a replay of the same drama with the next girl. OP could use those Velcro stick-on tabs and Velcro a small photo of girlfriend du jour over the ex. Then, when her brother breaks up with her and gets a new girlfriend, you can just rip the ex right off and stick on the new one. My brother is between a rock and a hard place. Hardly. Your bro is just being a baby, in a mess of his own making. If he's ready to get married, as having a fiancé would suggest, he's old enough to have difficult discussions with his fiancé and cope up to embarrassing truths. It's silly to expect you to pay to get your wedding pictures photoshopped just so that he doesn't have to talk to his own fiancé, especially since that wouldn't even solve the issue. Tell him to grow up. So about 2 months ago, my daughter-in-law, female 26, gave birth to my lovely grandson. My family and I are Bulgarian Orthodox. Before my grandson was born, I told my son and his wife that I was going to pay for all baptismal expenses and any childcare expenses for the first year, as long as they gave the kid an Orthodox name. They both agreed without much consideration. They named him David Antoine. David is the Orthodox name and Antoine is in honor of the uni professor who mentored both my son and his wife, and who sadly passed away during the global issue. The thing is, while my daughter-in-law converted to Orthodoxy, her parents are atheists of African origin, Ivory Coast, who moved to France. They really wanted their grandson to have a traditional Ivorian name. So 2 months ago, when the baby was born and they found out about the name and the deal, they threw a massive fit, directed primarily at my wife and I. Name-calling, cursing, accusations, and frankly, I wasn't having any of it. I told them that they were insensitive and insulting to not only my religion, but also that of their daughter, to their daughter's decision and to the mentor of both their daughter and my son. I told them they're uninvited to the baptism due to their behaviour unless they apologise to the parents of our grandchild. Both my son and his wife agreed with my decision. The baptism is next week, and while I've been in no contact with them, my son said that from the discussions they've had, they're still pretty angry and unwilling to apologise, but they said they will come to the baptism whether I like it or not. My sister tells me I've been acting like an idiot towards them and I should let them join next week if they show up. I maintain that they will not be allowed at the after party. Edit, when I said they'll not be allowed at the baptism, I meant at the after party, which will take place at my home. Only church officials can kick people out at the ceremony itself, and unless they're disruptive, I don't see a reason they'd be kicked out. My son and his wife paid for their own wedding. She converted of her own free will because it's what she believes in. If you name your kid like I want, I will pay you. Definitely, you are the idiot for using your money to manipulate the outcome you wanted with your grandchild. In regards to your in-laws, it's unclear if you've given them any other reason to think that you're a bigot. I can only wonder what your reaction would have been if they'd come up with a better package and had a secular naming ceremony. Frankly, you strike me as an unreliable narrator. Yes, exactly. If the roles were reversed, imagine how upset OP would be. That's a lot of money and it's effectively blackmail. Of course, blame partly lies on the son and daughter-in-law, as they could have still said no, but it sounds like an offer that most new parents could scarcely afford to refuse. Also, this wasn't a daughter-in-law's decision. She was flat out bribed by them to make a decision in their favour. Jesus, OP, why can't the parents of this baby make the decision about the name? You're financially incentivizing your level of input into a decision that isn't yours, and now the in-laws are upset that they didn't get a say. Back off, dinosaurs. You all had your turn to name your own kids. This isn't your child to raise, and using your money to blackmail your son is wrong, especially when it separates your daughter-in-law and grandson from their culture, religion, and heritage. This is ludicrous. My wife, 37 female, and I, 38 male, have been married for 12 years and have 3 kids, pre-tween and younger. During the pandemic, my wife's job allowed her to switch to 100% work from home. They never required her to go back to the office because her productivity actually increased, so there was no need. It made things easier for us too. I dropped the kids off at school or daycare in the morning, and she picked them up in the afternoon. She was able to keep up with a few things around the house during the day. We saved on gas and car maintenance, etc. A few months ago, she was contacted by a recruiter about a job. It would be a nice step up in her career path as well as a boost in pay. But there were drawbacks. The company had no work-from-home policy and would require her to work in the office. This was apparently non-negotiable. It would also be a 45-minute commute for her. We talked it over a lot and I expressed my concerns about how this would impact our daily lives. I told her that I don't necessarily think that the bump in pay is worth the major changes to our daily lives, not to mention the stress that a long commute can have on people, and that could impact their mood and how they interact at home. She assured me that everything would be fine and that we would adjust as a family, and soon the routine would just become our new normal. I told her that I would never tell her not to take the job, but I just don't know if it's worth the changes that it's going to bring. Ultimately, the decision was hers and she accepted the new job. She's been there for about 10 weeks now. To say it's been an adjustment is an understatement. She wakes up and leaves before the kids even get up. She'll get a few things ready for them before she goes, but the entire morning kid routine is on me. I also do both drop-off and pick-up for all the kids too. Evenings have been a huge mess because I get home and try to get the kids distracted while I start dinner. When my wife gets home, she's usually stressed from the drive. Her commute has turned into over an hour due to construction and traffic, and takes 15 minutes for herself to calm down before eating alone. Then, after dinner, she's going to bed earlier because she has to wake up earlier. I told her that I feel her new job has put an unfair amount of household and childcare duties on me, and that she's being far less present in our lives when she's home. The quality of meals I'm cooking for the kids is not the quality my wife previously prepared. The house isn't nearly as clean, laundry is more backed up, the yard is in worse shape, etc. Nothing in our lives, including our bank account, have improved with this new job. She told me that we just need to give it more time to adjust and things will get easier. I told her that 10 weeks is a pretty good adjustment period and I hate it so far. She told me I'm being an unsupportive jerk and I need to give it more time. Not the idiot. I don't understand the people saying it's your time to do it when you've pointed out the fact that before her new job you both used to split the kids' routine together, and I don't see what the issue is with keeping up the housework since she worked from home. It seems like you had a good dynamic going and balanced teamwork. Where do you see an equal split? How is dropping the kids off in the morning while she's doing everything else an equal split? Sounds like the wife was pulling double duty before. His words make it sound like he's just sad that she's not doing as much at home anymore. Not that they had Mel 24 can't drive because she has a chronic illness that prevents her from obtaining a license. We've been together for 7 years and I've been the solo driver for all of these 7 years. Never once have I asked her to pay for fuel, insurance, upkeep or repairs. She's from a well-off family and gets financial help from her parents, while I have to work and pay for everything out of my own pocket since my parents can't afford to help me out. She just finished her master's and started working her first job last week. Since there's no public transportation, I get up 2 hours before I regularly have to and drive her to work. It's around 45 minutes each way. I had to change my insurance policy to include the extra distance driven, and my rate has shot up by 70% due to this. I did extensive math to calculate the fuel consumption, extra maintenance costs and insurance costs, and explained everything to her. We had a verbal agreement that she pay for 75% of monthly fuel costs because my job is 80% home office and I only use the car for grocery shopping or trips together outside of that. 50% of the insurance costs and 50% of any upcoming maintenance or repair costs. I believe that this is entirely reasonable because I never asked her for any money in the 7 years I drove her around, and because 80% of my car use from now will be getting her to work. Then she went to her parents' place to get some cash because I asked her to pay back the insurance, a tank of fuel, and some extra cash because inspection is due this month. She sent me a text to the tune of, "My parents are furious and won't pay for your car insurance," and "They said it's your car and clearly you offered to drive me to work," as well as, "So I'm sorry but I can only give you X dollars." I replied with, "Well, I don't understand it really because A, I didn't offer it, it was basically universally expected for me to do that, B, you earn your own money now so why don't you pay it out of your own pocket, and C, don't bother with paying for it, I don't want you to get in trouble or get myself in trouble with my in-laws to be, but don't come whining when we'll just spend the weekends at home because all of my spending money goes towards car expenses." She then called me an idiot and a gold digger via text and told me she'd be back for dinner to talk this out. Talk it out we did, and what I got from it is that she thinks it's unfair that she, psychologist in training, earns as much as I do, side job IT, while working more hours, and that she believes she's entitled to a better living standard due to a more complex education, and that $250 in fuel and $70 in insurance each month would cut into her spending money. I told her that's tough luck, but it's how the world works, and to stop complaining because in just a few years she'll out-earn me by like 4 times. She's still mad at me. Am I the idiot? You're not the idiot, but a bit of a sucker. If you want her to appreciate you and what you contribute to the relationship, stop driving her. Call your insurance and get the rate lower again. Go out with her on weekends like you did before. Let her parents or an Uber take her to and from work. It sounds like the arrangement was satisfactory to everyone before she took this job. Reset so that things are like they were for you before she took this job. Yeah, and she's calling him the gold digger like my man hasn't asked her to pay for even a tank of fuel all the years they've been together, and now she's getting mad that she's got to help pay to upkeep their mode of transportation. How could she go for 7 years and never offer to contribute? As is often stated, she's showing you who she is. Believe it. She's using you. She's also entitled as heck and acting like a spoiled little princess whose daddy never told her no when he should have. To be honest, what she really needs is to be entirely on her own and have to pay for her own living and transportation expenses solo for a while. If you keep subsidizing her life and transportation, she will only get worse. If you're smart, you'll break up with her. My son, male 19, loves to just wear underwear in his room for whatever reason. He'll throw on a shirt and pants if he has to step out to go to the bathroom, come to the kitchen, talk to anybody, etc., but otherwise he's just in his underwear. I, male 48, told him multiple times that I dislike this and that he has to wear clothes in case his mom or I have to come into his room. He says that if we start knocking, he'll throw something on and then it'll be okay. I told him he still had to wear clothes, and then he made another excuse and said it was too hot. In the summer, I tend to set the thermostat to around 85 or 87 to save money. I turn it down to around 80 to 82 once the sun goes down because then it takes less energy. He says that it makes him sweat when he's just sitting around not doing anything, and I rejoined by saying, if it's so hot, go spend a couple of hours outside, see if it still feels hot. We live in Oklahoma and it routinely gets up to 100 in the summers. He rolled his eyes at this and we just kept arguing. I'm wondering now if I'm the idiot. Am I? You are the idiot. Huge one. 87 degrees in the summer? That's torturous. Your ridiculous temperature requirements are the reason he's wearing only underwear in the first damn place. You want him to get dressed? Keep the house at a humane temperature. 87 degrees in the house, I would frigging die. I don't care how many clothes the kid is wearing, that's inhumane. OP is probably the kind of guy who lives by my house, my rules, right down to micromanaging his son's room because it financially still belongs to OP. Well, OP will learn one day when he has his own room in a nursing home and can't have any more control over it. I'm not trying to be rude here, but this isn't how you treat someone you love. You need to see a therapist and figure out why you need to control your son's life down to the micromanagement level. There's no good reason why him sitting in his own room, his safe space, the only physical space he can call his, bothers you whatsoever. Go see a professional and repair what's left of your relationship with your son, and use your goddamn air conditioner.